Welcome, everybody. Denny Grimes here. It is Mastery. It is Friday Mastery. We have our co-host here, Louise. And Louise, you can kind of keep an eye out if Don pops in or Matt pops in. And today is the 27th of June, and I happen to be in Alaska for the 4th of July. My wife lives here. We have a home here. So that's why the background looks different, and I don't have my slides. And this video will be posted, you guys, on Denny Grimes' YouTube channel, Denny Grimes Mastery of Real Estate. If you're not subscribed, go check it out. And Louise, people may want to participate. We trust they do because that's how they get better. Let them know how they can join us.
Absolutely. So to participate, simply post in the chat your scenario. If you're at the table, if you're on the phone, who you're at the table or on the phone with, a seller, a buyer, um, an expired for sale by owner, and identify the level of the objection that you would like to address.
Yeah, we don't do, we have now eliminated level of difficulty because there's no such thing. An objection is an objection. The only thing that varies is how prepared you are. And this is mastery. So I've mastered though, wax on, wax off. Louise obviously is a great agent and she doesn't do a lot of thumping her own chest, so to speak, but she's a great agent in a great market in Florida and West Palm Beach. And being in production, everyone that's speaking to you on this mastery call is in production, not people that used to be, want to be, or someday will be. And she has an interesting scenario that she brought up just before we went live. I think it'd be beneficial to kind of walk through this. She's been nurturing a lead for a couple of years. I just kind of set you up, the Louise, and we'll go into it because there's a couple of things I think we can learn. Number one, she's been nurturing this potential seller for a couple of years. Now, you would think, Louise, that and I don't want anyone to assume anything that you've been in touch 4 years, you're automatically owed the listing. But that's not really the case here. This seller, get this, must be a high C. A high C is detailed minded. Finally says, now is the time that's ready. And guess what? We're going to interview 4 agents. Now, one thing that may have happened, and we'll get into the role play, just setting it up. Louise was able to, and she wanted to be last. Now we can have a discussion first or last. There's some strategy either way, but I'm guessing, Louise, you asked for that position, and probably because you have built a prior relationship, they honored it, correct?
Yes, and I asked if I had their honor and commitment that they would sign or commit to anything before they interviewed all of the agents.
And it takes some guts to do that. And evidently, now when is your appointment?
Monday at 2.
All right, now. So let's go ahead and have a discussion on this. Imagine you are now going into a listing interview and you're going to be the fourth of 4 agents. So let's talk about then. All right. So Louise, let's talk about now, because you've learned some things on this call. What have you learned since you've been on Master and Recon to put yourself in a better position when you show up on Monday?
Well, I that's a great question. And I asked, what are you looking for in the agent that you select? So I'm asking for their criteria.
Right. So we teach, and again, this is always great. When you find out you are going against some competition, it may be stated, it may not be stated. Always assume there is competition. One of the things when they say we are going to be talking to other agents, write this question down. This is a question you want to ask. Well, let me ask you, what criteria are you going to select when you pick your agent? What are you looking for? Because if they're going to interview, there's 2 types of people broadly put out there. How many people have been doing real estate long enough? You've gone into a listing appointment with an engineer type. That's what we mean, type C. And they have a list of questions already written out for you. Now, those are sometimes the easiest because they're kind of black and white. Then the other ones are kind of esoteric. Well, they don't have a plan. They don't know how to judge one agent. So they're going to go by what? Their gut. So always find out what criteria. So let's get into a role play here a little, Louise. Do you want to be that seller or do you want to be the agent and I'll be that seller?
I guess I'll be the seller since I had the conversation, I know what they're looking for.
Okay,
Give
so
me the answers.
okay, so let's take a couple of minutes and do this. Okay. And you guys put in the chat, any comments, any thoughts you have. Okay, Louise has got the people coming in and let's go. All right, so we're on the phone. The appointment's not till Monday. And I'm going to say, all right, so Louise, okay, so great. I appreciate the appointment on Monday. Let me ask you, have you given any thought? You said you're going to be interviewing 4 agents. Have you already lined up the other 3?
Yes. Yeah.
Well, I know that you've given me the grace of being the last one. Thank you so much for that and the commitment that you're not going to make a decision before you get there. Have you thought about what criteria are you going to use? Imagine you've talked to all 4 agents. What criteria are you going to use to make your selection?
We're going to find out we're looking at the fee of each agent. We want to know what they're going to price it at. And because I was an agent in the past, I know price isn't everything. Like we don't want to price it to have it sit long on the market. We want to sell it in a reasonable amount of time.
Okay, so you're talking about professional fee, you're talking about the price, and what other criteria? Now, notice, I'm going to stop a minute. Just because she stopped talking doesn't mean she's done with what she has on her mind. I want you to remember that. Because we're talking about mastery, you've got to make sure that you've got to. I've never milked a cow. Okay, I'm coming up with an analogy. There could be a squirt or two of milk. You have to get it all out. Did you feel like she said everything? Too many agents will take what they initially say as they're like, okay, that they're no, wait, okay. So you talked about fee and price. What else are you looking for to make the decision, Louise?
We want an agent who's going to be at every showing. We want an agent who's going to monitor everyone very closely.
Okay. Are you making this stuff up?
No, no, this
Okay.
is,
Now, are we done yet, guys? Did she say uncle?
you don't know.
You don't know. All right, I'm writing this down. What else, Louise?
Oh, and and we know the market has improved since we started talking a couple of years ago. So we're really happy we decided to wait.
Okay. Now, this is on the phone. There's a lot of questions. Notice what I'm not asking. I'm not asking motivation questions yet. Why? I'll get to that when I'm at the appointment, right? I want to know, I want to know how to prepare for the competition. Now, how many people are not really too excited? They got fee, price. You said you want to be at every showing, and what was the other thing you said? I was trying to take notes.
Their perception of the market, how
The
it,
market, but it was something else about you said about an agent at every showing and
oh, they want to monitor everyone that comes into the home.
monitor. All right. How many think you might want to refer this to somebody else? It's already starting to seem like a lot of work. What's the price point?
650.
Now, I'm going to open it up. We're watching the chat, or we don't have that many people on here. You can speak up if you want. I'm still on the phone. No right or wrong. Does anybody have any lingering questions that you would ask before you hang up?
Probably straightforward, Danny. If you find that and if you feel like I'm the right agent to help you with this move, would you hire me? Or some sort of question in that way I would ask. Or if
Okay.
somebody would stop if something would stop you to do business with me.
Okay. I mean, that's a trial close, but again, I'm not going to keep saying this, you guys, because we're a mastery, we're going to be looking at a lot of different things. If you wanted to say that my closing comment would be maybe. Well, let me ask you if for clarity's sake, you said you're interviewing 4. Has that changed?
No, we're interviewing 4.
Then let me ask you this. If I check all your boxes to your satisfaction on these things that you just mentioned to me, would you be ready to move forward with me on Monday?
After we meet with all 4 agents, my partner and I will talk together and make a decision.
Well, okay, so now, all right,
They're
let
not
me
gonna
ask you
make
guys, did
they're
she
not
answer
gonna
the
sign
question?
anything.
I'm sorry?
They're not going to commit to an agent on the spot. They're going to compare afterwards.
So you see the value in asking it. I want to find out if they're feeling comfortable, are you ready to, hey, and you know what you can say, so I can make sure I bring the paperwork. I know I'm being a little assumptive, but you do want you do want a salesperson working for you, right? So if I check all the boxes for you on Monday, will you be prepared to move forward? There's my trial close. It was friendly, it wasn't pressure. And then she said, no, we're going to meet and get back to you. Okay, am I going to press? Probably not. I think that would be probably bad form. Any other questions you might want to ask while you're on the phone?
What do they mean by being at every showing and monitor visitors? Someone put that in the chat as well. But yeah, a little clarity on that.
They want a listing a company for all showings. Listing
I
agent a company.
That's what it was. The company showings, right? And a monitor. Okay.
Not happening. I ain't doing it.
Hey, Matt, welcome.
was back.
No, Matt just comes in a cloud of dust. Okay, so, all right, well, I'm not going there yet. On the phone, I'm just, I'm going to cover it when I get there, right? Here's what we want you to learn. If you know they're going to be interviewing, then find out what trips their trigger. Don't go in blind. And in my personal opinion, because she's going to go in for the appointment on Monday, she's going to be last. I don't know that I would dig into, and you just popped on, Matt, but you'll catch up to speed. This is something that Louise has to do on Monday. I would probably, I would be satisfied with that information at the call. Did you go any deeper, Louise?
No, but I will with the pre-qualification questions.
Which are what?
Well, we'll review the motivation. I know their motivation. And I'll ask them, what is the price they won't go below? Right? Because
All
I
right, hang on a minute. Hang on a minute. What is the benefit of that on the phone?
to find out if they're realistic.
Does their motivation sometimes reveal if they're realistic?
Their motivation will reveal their timeline more than if they're realistic about the market.
So my opinion, and it got Matt now. Matt, you're listening too, so you can be not that you wouldn't be frank. I would probably never ask that question. It's already seemingly I'm working against what's the lowest price you'll take. Number one, that answer they give you will be basically guttural, and it may not be the facts anyway, because the facts can change. Not being judgmental, but it's like
What if I
it's like a plastic surgeon saying, how much of your arm are you willing to give up?
asked it this way? Denny, have you and your partner thought about a price that it wouldn't make sense for you to sell?
For me, I wouldn't even get into that. I would not have that conversation on the phone.
Mm-hmm.
I may have that conversation at some form of that when we get into positioning. Any thoughts on that, Matt?
I do. I ask. But I have 13 strategic questions that I ask before going on an appointment. We've gone over them before. But I do go into to confirm your home, to confirm when we sell your home, where are we moving you? And if I know some of this stuff, I'll input it and I'll just kind of like touch on it. Like, okay, hey, just to confirm, when we sell your home, you're staying in the area, you've already got another home, got that right. Worst case scenario, what was your time frame for getting it sold? Remind me, what are the main reasons that you're selling the home? Or if I know, I'll say, when we spoke originally, you mentioned you were selling the home because of this, this, and this. Was there anything else I missed? And then I do ask them, but I don't spend a lot of time hovering on it. Just, hey, when we meet, what price were you guys thinking that you needed to get for the home?
Yeah, there's now what you missed is Louise has been in a relationship with these people for 2 years.
Mm.
So and if I don't know if you have those questions and if you're willing to put them in the chat or however you
Yeah,
want
I can share. I can share them. Yep.
that'd be great. So, all right. So now I'm going to switch the tables. Louise, now we're at the appointment on Monday. You are the agent and I'm the seller. Ready?
Sure.
Okay. So you're not going to give your listing presentation, but at some point in time, let's take control. Go.
Denny and partner, thank you for taking the time to meet with me. Now that you've seen what our team can provide to you, are you prepared to put us to work for you today?
Well, let's talk about the four things that we had the criteria. Um, just to clarify, your fee structure was what?
We have a variable fee structure, and I would show you that menu of commission.
Okay. And then there was four things. All right, I've got that down in I have it on my matrix. Okay, now you're dealing with an engineer, right? And you're suggesting what price?
The price range, given the information that I've shown to you today, we're looking at a range of between A and B. How do you feel about that?
Okay, I feel like I'm going to write that down.
Okay.
And I want you to monitor the showing activity. What is your plan on that?
We will respect your request between myself and our showing agents. We will make sure that you have a licensed agent here at every showing.
I mean, you're not going to be here?
It may not be me, Denny, and we don't want a case where a buyer is available at a certain time and the agent isn't. You wouldn't want to miss a showing because of a timing issue, would you?
Well, I guess as long as you're licensed. And I think there was one more thing is, I don't know what the other thing, I didn't quite understand the difference between being there and monitoring the showings, but all right. Anything else you want to say before we kick you out the door?
Yeah, Denny. I'm curious, having met with three agents and now myself, how do you feel? Where does our team rank compared to the other agents that you've met with?
Well, that's what we're going to discuss. We've got them all. We've got the notes from all four.
Mm-hmm.
As we told you, we honored your last. We didn't make a decision before you got here. So we are going to have that discussion and get back to each of you on probably no later than Wednesday morning.
Okay. And based on the presentation that we provided and the answers, the questions we've answered, do you feel like our team is able to satisfy all of your requests?
I think all four of you guys are qualified agents, and we're just going to figure out which is the most competitive for us.
Okay. Well, what criteria are you using to determine that?
Well, wait a minute. We already had that discussion. I just interviewed on those four criteria. You answered it.
So, do you know where I'm out of role play? Do you know where I'm going? I'm trying to find out where I stand based on this, and I've answered their questions, and I want to know if there's criteria that they have that I haven't answered.
Well, that's what I wanted to get at, and here's where we're going to peel into it a little bit. And we have three expert agents here. So here's what I would have done. Give your presentation. So really fast, I'm just going to go and I'll get Matt. Well, Matt, no, because you're going to go next. You had mentioned fee, price, and having an agent here, correct?
Yeah.
So here's my question now. When it comes to fee, let's just say you had the fee was your only criteria. How are you going to pick the agent based on fee? Now,
That's a good
before we
question.
go into role play, we don't even have to do the full role play. What I'm doing is I'm challenging their thinking on their criteria. I'm making them look at the other side of the coin. Now, they're not saying they're saying fee. So what do you think? Okay, so now, okay, so you have a flexible fee, but you don't know. I'm going to say, well, before we even get into that, are you more interested in saving money or making money? I am gonna put doubt in their matrix. I am gonna put, oh, they have to think deeper than that. So are you gonna go with the lowest fee? I'm going to push before I lay my cards on the table. I'm going to open that up. I'm going to just kind of just bear that open. Also on price. So are you going to, how, if that was the criteria, which one would you go with? Because I mean, many times, are you going to go with the most expensive one? And Matt, we've had this conversation on Mastery before. Okay, well, why don't we put 2 million on it then? You see, their criteria is flawed unless you add context to it. Matt.
Yeah. So when if if we as agents are going into a listing appointment, I'm not saying this is the case, Luis, I'm just giving context. If we as agents go into a listing appointment and we don't know the metric, what they need to know from an agent to know they're the right agent, then you might as well just get up and leave. Like in the middle of the appointment, just get up, don't say anything, and just leave. So you need to know what we're here today to find out if we're a good fit to work together. What are the two to three things, or what do you need to know from an agent to know they're the right agent to sell the property? Now, fast forwarding when you're going to write those down in red ink, preferably, and then you're going to start crossing them off as you meet that criteria, because you're going to your talking points they gave you your talking points. I've had appointments where I literally just talk about what they need to know. We don't talk about anything else. We don't talk about the market. We don't talk about anything, because we address what they need to know in there. Now you fast forward, if we're talking about the commission and all that jazz, that's when, as Denny was mentioning before, I create the doubt, and I always ask questions. I'm very Socratic about everything, and every conversation I have. People hate me for it sometimes, but it's just because if I don't ask, I don't know. And I am a genuinely curious person. So when they say that, they want to figure out what the most competitive fee is, I'd ask them, well, what does competitive mean? Like, because that's like I don't know what that competitive may be. My turkey sandwich may look a lot different than your turkey sandwich. What's competitive? And how certain? And if they say less commission, whatever they say, how certain are you that by doing that you will net more? How certain are you? And then this is where I throw the dollar amount of the home in. Right? Say it's $1 million home, a $2 million home, a $3 million home. You don't really get a lot of commission objections the higher up you go in price range, because they're professionals and they value paying professionals. It's actually counterintuitive. The most money I've ever made has been on the most expensive listings, because they know I'm a tactician. I am there to do precision surgery. So they don't care what I charge. I've charged more money on the higher end. And that's not, I wouldn't admit that in the court of law, blah, 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 all that legal jargon. But in that situation, they're going to say they might want the least amount of commission. And then the long story short is, well, hey, your home, you got a $3 million home there, Matthew, over in Scottsdale, Arizona. You got a $3 million home. You're the owner. Are you willing to make a $3 million bet right now that just by hiring that agent, because they're going to charge you the least commission, that you're going to net more money? Are you willing to make a $3 million bet on that right now? The answer is no, you're not. Does that kind of make sense?
I mean, how many, think about it. And here's the bottom line, what we're going to get across to you guys. If you go in and fill out give them the information that they can put in their little matrix, you will lose.
Mm-hmm.
They wouldn't pick a surgeon this way. What do you charge for an appendectomy? And let's see, fee schedule. What was the other one? Oh, yeah. What are you going to charge me to do that? And what is my recovery time? I'm going to go with the lowest fee, lowest recovery time. I mean, it's kind of ridiculous when you think about it. And sellers, maybe buyers too, will think that way because they feel we are a commodity. But I want you to get out of your mind, we are not a commodity. We are not a gas station on one of four corners. Y'all get that, right? They think we are, we're not. In a case in point, they're licensed pilots that fly airplanes every day. And my wife made this postcard. It was my idea, the best postcard she ever did. And she had a picture of Solly on the Hudson with all the people on the wings when he landed that plane. They're all licensed, but when you get birds in the engine, experience matters.
I've got anecdote right now. Denny, I don't even want to tell the whole story because we'd be here forever. But let's just say probably about 30 minutes from where you are, an agent lied, a buyer's agent lied from the showings. From the showing forward, we're under contract right now. I represent the seller. An agent lied. And I, knowing the contract, and we can get an attorney on the phone, attorneys on the phone right now, and they will admit that they've worked with me the past 20 years. They will admit I know the contracts better than them. You don't want to go toe to toe on contracts with me because I will eat your lunch. This realtor lied, thought that she would have an out for her client. Her clients are now obligated to buy this house or lose all of their earnest money or potentially be sued for specific performance because of how I construct my contracts in the four corners of my contracts. So we're not commodities, guys. We are, I don't know the opposite of that. We are, I'll let Denny chime in there, but it's very true.
I trust you find value in these conversations. I mean, you've got a lot of experience in a lot of screwed up transactions and appointments. So I trust this is sinking in. If you want to stand out, help them. Don't be a duck. Don't be and walk like a duck. Don't be a sheep.
Yeah.
Help them by telling them, whoa, this isn't the way you would pick a surgeon. So don't pick a real estate agent this way. Do you mind if I share with how you should pick one? Now you're going to stand out because you care about them. So enough of that. Louise, does that help you?
Yeah, thanks.
All right. So you'll share commission with all of us on the phone today if you get the listing.
Yeah.
Oh, got it.
Who's
It's
up
all
next?
good.
Who's up?
May I just share one experience that I really had recently? I got a listing very similar. It was 3 agents, not 4. And when I went there, Luis, I just told the agent, look, I'm not here to tell, because I knew that he's going to interview more. I'm like, I did not come here to tell you why you should hire me, because, I don't really know anything much about what you're looking for. But I'm really interested to find out just to see if I can really help you. And then I told him we're going to cover 3 parts, and you tell me where would you like me to start? My systems, the fees, or the numbers. And he started off with the numbers, the value of the house. So I figured that probably he did not like what the other agents told him, and I just avoided putting my prints on the number. He selected the number, and I got the listing. So
And
sometimes
you'll share your commission here with everybody, right? Good job, Tanner. Louise, did anybody put anything in the chat yet?
Yes, yeah, we actually have Ozzy. Ozzy is working with a seller who would like to start or has a pricing strategy of starting low versus high. I guess the seller wants to start high versus low.
Okay. Matt, you got it?
So we're role playing. Seller wants to price high versus low.
Is that right, Ozzy?
Where is Ozzy?
Yeah, that is correct. That is correct. Can you hear me good?
Yep, we got you. All right, yeah. So are we at the table?
Yep.
Yeah,
Okay.
we're at the table. I'm hired. I'm their agent, but we're now having a pricing conversation. I want to practice my skill and you guys have more experience. Instead of starting high and doing price reductions, I want to be able to either start lower than market value so that we can do price increases.
All right,
So
we got it.
roll.
We got it. Just role play.
Okay, let's role play down.
Yeah. Do me a favor.
So-
Hold on. Do me a favor though, brother, real quick, because you're in your car, so we're gonna lose you. Shut your camera off. Shut your
Okay.
camera. Like, just turn your camera off because it'll give you more connection for your voice, and then we'll rock.
All right, good idea. Let me do that.
All right.
Ready to rock and roll. So Matthew, um, you said that the price you wanted to start at was 750,000. Is that right?
Yep. Yep. That's what I want
Okay.
or more.
And how'd you arrive at that price? Was it something that you looked online or conversations with others? How,
Hang
Let
on,
let
hang
me
on,
let me let
hang
me
on.
stop. Yeah,
What?
ask the question. Don't add the or.
okay. How'd you come up with that price? I'm curious.
Nice.
It's a good question. Well, my neighbor around the corner, but his house backs up to the Marriott Hotel. I don't back up to the Marriott Hotel. His home sold for 750, or like 730, and I think we're probably right there or a little bit better.
Ah, okay, perfect. Yeah, that might be um a difference maker, the fact that they back up to the Marriott, and we'll check on those. But I wanted to offer a different perspective on pricing. May I share, Matthew?
Sure.
Looking at the comps right here in front of you, I slide it forward. We see here that all homes right now are selling and they're going under contract between 700 and 730. And my biggest concern for you is that if we're just slightly overpriced, even by 2%, 3%, we might start to have some showings but no offers. If that happens and we have no offers after, like, let's say 2 or 4 weeks, how does that affect your plans, Matthew, with regards to getting you to Alaska?
Do you not think that we can get 750?
I think it's possible, but here's my different perspective. I think that instead of starting at 750 and seeing how the market responds, I think we should start at what the other activity is showing us that's actually moving for our market, somewhere between the range of 700 and 730. And if we get too much activity, if we get too many offers, we can always do something called price increase. Have you ever heard of that tactic?
No.
Ah, so that tactic is a very beautiful one for you. And the reason why is because if we price it just slightly under market, we might get something called multiple offers. And Matthew, how many homes do we have to sell? Just one, right?
Sure.
Right. So even if we get 2 or 3 offers, we can't sell your house to all of them. We have to pick one. This causes something called bidding war, an auction style type of bidding war. And what happens
Time.
naturally? Go
That's
ahead.
3 minutes. So interesting. Well, Ozzy, where are you?
Las Vegas, Nevada.
Well, typically Las Vegas kind of follows the Florida market. Are you seeing an increase in inventory in Las Vegas?
Yes, very, very, very.
All right, a couple different things, and I know Matt will have some comments. I teach something called the better way. I'm just going to ask you some basic questions. Number one, you used some words there, and I didn't give Matt enough time, but he probably would have pushed back. We might get multiple offers. If we get multiple offers, what are you setting them up for, Ozzy?
Um,
Multiple offers?
Expectation.
Is it possible you could put it on the market at that number and not have multiple offers?
it is possible,
So
yeah.
when we teach, don't put your fingerprints on the price, don't put your fingerprints on expectations unless you have the whole gamut, like expectations, one of three things. Number two, can you say for sure that if he wants 750 and you're saying it should be listed at 730, that he cannot get 750 or something greater than 730?
There's no comps to support right now, 750.
That's forget comps. And by the way, if you'd ever say that on a presentation, I'd slap your knuckles.
No, I'm saying that internally between us.
I got it.
Yeah.
I got it. Can you say 100% for sure that the market won't absorb that home at 730 to 750?
I'm almost 90%. Yeah, 90%.
No. I'll help you. The answer
Yeah,
is no. The answer is no, because that home that backs up to the Marriott that I described,
correct.
that's a real home that a past client in her neighborhood sold for $1,050,000.
Uh-huh.
But it's one of 1,000. It's the only one that justifies that. So that's Denny's point. Go ahead, Denny.
Thank you. Thank you. And I guess the third thing is the better way. So if you cannot say 100% of there's no chance that they can get more money, why would you die on that hill? And here's the thing you guys have to watch out for. If we had perfect knowledge and knew what the future is, we could tell them what it's going to sell for and be dogmatic about it. But we don't know what the future is. In fact, positioning, I'm going deep in positioning right now. There's 6 different steps of positioning. And whenever you're given a pricing analysis or position analysis, it's basically an educated hypothesis because we cannot predict the future. So my point is, are you willing to lose the listing because you want to list it low, Ozzy?
No, I'm not willing.
And my last question, and I'll give Matt the podium. Why not get the listing? Why not get the commit? Well, all right. So why are you trying to get it low? I know it is a strategy, and it may be and I'm saying it probably is a valid strategy. Because if you can price it low enough, you will always get multiple offers. So my question is, if you want to use that strategy, why don't you price it at $1? Matt.
That makes sense. And I think to give you some context, they listed 2 years ago.
No. We don't.
Okay.
No, we don't need the war stories.
Got it.
And I don't mean to be rude, but I get
You're
that.
fine.
Matt.
Yeah. So Denny and I differ a little bit when it comes to pricing, but the message is kind of the same. I can't guarantee, so I'm not going to spend a whole great deal of time trying to help them self-discover what I feel objectively the market is doing with those comparables, right? Your CMA.
Correct.
Give them the information, trust them with their intelligence, but then dig deeper. So they want 750. All right. Hey, Ozzy, based off of everything we've gone over, homes like yours appear to be selling somewhere between $700 and $735,000. What price were you hoping that you could sell it for? 750. Okay, fantastic. What's the significance of the 750, Ozzy? Well, my neighbor's home around the corner sold. They back up to the Marriott though. Okay, gotcha. So what I'm hearing you say is that if we position at 750, that you feel I'm the right agent to help you. But do I have that right? It's a trial close. Okay, great. Well then, so I'm your guy. We're going to work together. And then you can do the better way and explain, this is what's going to happen moving forward. But I won't explain the better way because I don't want to do it injustice. But what I want to convey to you, Ozzy, is once you get their commitment, 750 is the number, then you can start asking the if this happens, then what questions. That's how I know.
That's my biggest aha. Sorry to interrupt. It's show them the data and trust their intelligence. If they still pick something that I think might hurt them, then right there, Matthew, then I can say, well, what if then what was it you were getting into?
Well, yeah. So then, are you looking at the camera right now? Can you see me?
I can see you.
All right. So then you were over there. So you were over there.
Uh-huh.
Now you're over here. You're with me. We're together. All right. So Ozzy, what is our plan if the market says no? How long are we willing to leave it at this price and have it not sell?
Explore those consequences with them side by side as a team member.
Right. Yeah. Now you hired me. Now I'm your realtor. Denny's my client. I'm his realtor. What's our plan? And then lastly, like Denny's analogies, how long are we going to be willing to take this medicine and have it not cure the ailment?
That's so good. That gives me a framework, Matthew and Denny, to approach it. in a very professional and clear manner, sir. Thank you, thank you, thank you.
Yep, you're welcome.
Thank you for taking that coaching. You were that's an awesome example, Ozzy, of somebody working to get better and learn. So I appreciate that. Here's I had a thought, you guys. I'm talking to everyone. I was listening to, my wife was talking to somebody on the phone, and Canada right now is going through, from what I understand today, I mean, their unemployment of the younger generation there is 20%, and the market's changed like that in Canada. And so the agents are not knowing how to deal with it. And so here's my epiphany today, um, is this. Most of our troubles with our clients start with us. We have to develop the right mindset that, number one, we are not the purveyors of the future. It's not our job to predict what it's going to sell for. It's not our job to tell them anything that's going to happen in the future unless it's going to rain or it's not going to rain. One of three outcomes. So Ozzy, one of your aha light bulbs gone off is that many agents think that we're supposed to tell them. And if their number doesn't match our numbers, we have to protect them. Yes, in a way, but like Matt said very eloquently, is get the knuckle bump, get the commitment. Now that we're going to work together, let's strategize on positioning.
Mhm.
You know, I did, and Louise, who's next so they can get ready? And I want to share something with you really fast. So who's next?
Beverly is next.
Matt, get this, you guys. I'm writing this book, as you know, and so I'm doing some chatting with GPT. I'm just called chat. And I said, give me that evidence out there that says that days on the market end up getting the seller less in the end. So they pull up one. The first one's the Zillow one. And here's what I want you to understand. Zillow says that, you know, if you're selling the first couple of weeks, you get X number percent of list price. And if it's 3 months, it's X percent. And if it's like 6 months, X percent. So people take that and they run with it like, see, time on the market is deteriorates a seller's net. Well, you've got to scratch your head a little bit. What they're doing is they're comparing the original list price with a sales price. Now, what will happen over time if you list it too high over time? You're going to get a smaller percentage of your original list price, but it has nothing to do with market value. Now, I'm not suggesting it's a great strategy to have time on the market. I just want you to know there's a bunch of gunk out there that's not true that people lay down that is true. Does that make sense to you guys?
100%. In layman's terms, sorry if you can hear my ice machine. Got to give the dogs a piece of ice too. Come here, boys. Anyway, market conditions determine list price, not days on market, guys. That's really more or less what Denny's saying there. It's, you know, you could be on the market, because I've got properties around me that have been on the market for 4,000 days, literally 4,000 days, 4,000 days. The time on the market doesn't diminish the value of the property. The market conditions dictate what that property's worth. They're not lining up. Eventually, it's going to be worth what they want. It's just not right now. But just because it's been on the market for 4,000 days doesn't mean it's going to sell for less. That's what Denny's drawing the parallels to.
Can I play devil's advocate on that before we go to the next person?
Quickly.
Yeah, except when the market is going down, because then if they do price adjustment after price adjustment, they're chasing the market down, right?
Right. No, you're missing the forest through the trees.
Right.
Okay.
So the market value and the days on the market are two different things. Okay. If you grossly overprice a property and it sits on the market for 10 years, you grossly overprice it, and it sits on the market for 10 years, the value of the property, or that the time that it's been on the market, doesn't dictate its value. The fact that you grossly overpriced it is the problem. That's what we're saying.
Got it. Okay.
It's not worth less. If the market's declining, yeah, the distance between your grossly overpriced home and the market does slide down. But the time on the market's not what did that. It's the fact that you picked a price that like was pie in the sky.
That clicks. Thanks, Matthew. That 10-year analogy, it made sense. So I'll let you get to the next person. She's been waiting. Thank you.
Thank you. Ozzy, you're a really cool guy. Who's next, Louise?
Beverly. Beverly is working with a first time buy owner who overpriced a condo because it is an over improved condo.
Okay. Louise, take that role play, okay?
Mhm.
Go, Bev.
Okay, so are we on the phone or are we at the table? Or it doesn't
Table's
matter?
better.
Your choice. Your choice.
Okay, okay, we're at the table. Okay, so, Louise, are you ready to move forward with me today?
If you agree with me that we can sell it for this higher price.
Okay, so if we can agree to the number that where you want to be right now, are you ready to move forward with me today?
Well, then I'm gonna tell you that there's some other reason. So do you want to isolate?
Are there any other things holding you back?
Nope, the only thing is the price.
Okay, so if we can agree on the price right now, where to price it where you're asking, are you ready? You're ready to move forward today, right?
Mhm.
Okay, so can I have your agreement at this point?
If we can agree on the price, yeah, I'm ready to sign.
Okay, great. So here's what's going to happen, if you don't mind. Can I share with you 3 possible things that are going to happen if you stay at the price that you are looking for?
Sure.
Okay, and then I would go through the 3 different outcomes. Should I be doing that right now or?
So are you telling me that one of 3 things will happen when we put the house on the market?
Right, and where would you like to be after I explain to you the 3 different things that could happen? Would you like to have little to no showings, or some showings, or lots of offers and get your house sold as quickly as possible?
I'd like lots of offers and get the house sold.
Okay, so can we go back and revisit when I showed you what recently sold and what's been happening in the market in your area? Can we go back to that?
Uh-huh.
Okay, so you saw that some of these places, right, your next door neighbors, very similar to yours, they sold for 550 and the other one sold for 575, but you want to price yours at 700. So how can you explain to me why we should be going for that number? I mean, again, like I said to you, I'm agreeing to do that, but I want you to explain to me why you want to be at that number.
I had to step away for a quick second. Can I ask a question?
Sorry.
Did you guys have a knuckle bump yet?
Yeah,
Yes,
they've
we
Okay.
did.
they've got the buy-in.
Okay.
But real quick, Beverly. So when you ask that question, you can ask that question, but ask it a little bit differently. Hey, Louise, just so I can represent your best interest and defend what you're hoping to sell the property for. Help me understand how you arrived at that number.
Okay,
Yeah.
All right,
I
so
like that better.
that's what you asked.
Yeah,
What was the
okay.
what was the prelude before the help me understand?
So that I can represent your best interest and defend the number you're hoping to sell for. Can you help me understand how you arrived at it? What am I missing?
Mhm. So Louise, can you help me understand how you came up with 750 or 725, whatever you said, 725? So
Yeah.
this way I could continue to represent your best
Yeah.
interests.
Well, I think it's important to use the order that it was.
Yeah. You don't want to debauch that. You got to tee it up like the deflector questions that I've asked before, or distractions, or whatever term we use, Denny.
Deflection.
So deflections. Yeah, deflections. So and that's kind of like the framing as well. So you're framing it. Hey, Louise, I want to do a really good job. I want to represent your best interest, so that I can represent your best interest and defend what you're hoping to sell your home for. Can you help me understand how you arrived at that number? What am I missing?
Genuinely be curious.
Yeah, like, and if you notice, like, that when I can you help me? Like, I will literally stutter. It's because I am curious. I want to
Mhm.
know what I'm missing. Because one more thing, and then I'll let you jump back in. How many times do you meet with a client and they know about like 5 sales that didn't happen on the market that you know nothing about?
Mm.
And if you're not, if you go in there like, I'm the listing agent, I'm the realtor, I know better, then you can't help them. You need to leave. So I always come from genuine curiosity. Oh, okay, I didn't know about those 5. Really, tell me about those. Okay, great. So be curious. Jump back in.
Okay. Okay, great. All right. So Louise, I'm really excited about helping you get this house sold. And I would like to try to obviously work my hardest to defend your equity as best as I possible. So if you can, please help me understand why you think we should be at this higher number.
No.
No? No?
Help me understand how you came up with that number.
Okay, how you came up with that number. Okay, that's better. How you arrived at this number.
Well, Beverly, we have the Goldie Gold faucets, we have the gold bird bath, we have everything. It looks like I basically painted this house with 14 karat gold.
And you know what, Louise? I'm not going to argue with you on your beauty contest. You win over here. You win. Your house is lovely. And what I'm trying to do here for you, though, is trying to attract buyers
Hang
to
on.
come to your.
Let me just pop in here really fast. Is that you have the knuckle bump? You've gone over to the 3 outcomes, correct?
Mhm, mhm.
Why are we still
So she-
still wrestling over a positioning?
Yeah, let me jump in real quick, Denny, because so she asked her a question. She explained the 3 outcomes, but she asked her, which I know you don't like, Denny. She asked her, well, which outcome would you like? And Louise took the bait, and probably intentionally, and said, well, I want offers and showings.
Yeah. Okay. Well, okay. So I still, again, one thing you said, would you like lots of offers? When you say lots of offers, now you're
Mhm.
implying what?
That you know what the market's going to do.
And when you don't have
Uh,
lots of offers, they're going to be disappointed. I mean, so just it basically, I mean, don't put something out there that they're only going to have selective hearing, and they'll hear that.
Right.
mhm,
So if I can jump in, Bev, what
mhm.
this is the exact same situation that I just gave to Mr. Ozzy. It's the exact same situation. So we're not, she said she wants showings and offers. Great. That's what I want as well. But let me ask you a question, because the market's going to speak, Beverly. It's a question of whether we're going to listen. So when we position at this number with your beautiful gold faucets and your blah, 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 and your bird baths and you're nicer than everybody else, when we position at this, how long would we be willing to sit positioned at one price and have it not sell if that's what the market responds with? That's all you need to know.
To put in, because evidently I'm hearing from our buddy Ozzy in Las Vegas, certainly in Florida, the market is shifting across the country. And we have to get better at this, because if their home is worth less every day, are we really letting them know that every day they wait, it's costing them money? And if we're not doing that, we're not really a great agent to them. If they're getting sicker under our care because we won't prescribe the right medicine, shame on us. That makes sense to you guys?
Yeah.
Mhm.
Mm-hmm.
Ah, one more thing I wrote down. Louise, who's next? And I get them on deck, and I'll read you something I wrote down from chat yesterday. Who's next?
Matthew is next. Matthew is working with a seller who wants to know why they should pick him over a more experienced agent.
Oh my
Matthew's going to
gosh.
rock this objection.
Oh my gosh. Okay, so here's what I wrote down. A buyer doesn't ask, what is the home worth? Sellers want to know that. A buyer asks, what else can I get for my money?
Mhm.
How about that? I like that thought. All right, Matt. For the 18th time this week.
That's all right. I'll be right by him this week. I'm going to bury him in a golf course somewhere. So we won't
Okay.
have to. No, I'm just messing with you, Matthew.
Go.
I'm just trying to nail this one one at a
That's
time.
it.
So,
Well, you're not going to be
okay, so
inexperienced after this week.
no, I'm not.
Go,
Okay. Um, yeah, wait, who am I talking to? Denny?
Matt.
Me.
Okay. All right, Matthew. Yeah, that's a common concern, and I respect that. Would it be a crime to show you why it may not be the most
I'm
important?
going to say stop. What did I say about that?
Just acknowledge and that's
But don't, I mean, I don't think you have to say it's common. You're giving him validation because you're a youngster. Just, I mean, Matt, are you agreeing with me? He keeps doing that. Who's
Yeah,
telling him to do?
Matthew, I love you, brethren. Let me help you. I'm a little bit older than you now. That sucks. I hate being able to say that, guys. I wasn't always able to say that because I was Matthew's age when I started doing this. Give me the objection, Matthew. Give me the objection.
I'm looking for more experience.
Okay, Denny. You know, if I were in your shoes, I might feel the same way. It's Matthew, do you see the difference in that?
Mm-hmm.
So it's not, what did you say? What did you say?
I said that's a common concern, and I respect that.
Okay, right. So that's you're telling them that, so that I wondered if there was a nuance to what I said, and there is. You're telling them, yeah, a lot of people say that. Whereas the difference is with what I just said, it's maybe in the same vein, but it's not, because I'm saying, well, you know, Matt, if I were in your shoes, I might feel the same way. And
Yeah,
then
I
go,
probably, yeah, Matt, you know, that's interesting too. I might go a little bit different direction. So, you know what? You know, that's understandable if you're just looking at the outside.
oh yeah, there you go. Yeah, absolutely. Goosebumps. Yeah,
Now that gives that now that what that does when you ask a great question, what's it do? It creates curiosity.
yeah,
Now I want to know what, now you can talk about the inside of Matt.
yeah. Or you can even, and make sure you're writing that down. But then
Oh,
also remember, these are like arrows in the quiver, bullets in the belt. So here's another one. You know, I can see how you might feel that way if you're just looking at the surface level.
Now, all right, so let's go a little bit deeper now on this, okay, Matt? And younger people out there, I mean, talk about the time that you were the captain of the football team. Tell about you have some wins in your life. You have what you want to show is you are gritty.
You know what? Here's what sucks, guys. And you know, Denny, I'll just be really quick. So Denny's generation had
Oh my
hardships.
gosh.
Oh, stop, Denny. I'm not calling you old. So no, but Denny's generation had certain hardships. You know, they had great economic pain. They had wars. My generation, when I was just got out of high school, we were kicking off one of the longest wars we've been in a very long time, and I was involved in that war. So the generations in which we were born or reared in create adversity that gives us experience, maybe not direct experience to what we're doing, but life experience. Unfortunately, right now, we have that, Matthew, I say this respectfully, your generation hasn't had a lot of hardship. So there are things you can share. That's what I'm trying to caveat off what Denny's saying. You've got value that you can bring to the table. Yeah, you didn't have to go fight in a war. Yeah, the economy didn't fall on its ass like it did in Denny's earlier years, but you have something. Go to that.
Okay, you guys didn't have to burn whale blubber if you have streetlights, okay?
Right. Yep.
So, Matt, does that make sense?
Yes.
Now let's start over. This is Friday. This is mastery. Start over and match your client. Go.
Okay, Matt. Yeah, so I could see how that's understandable looking looking at the surface. Aside from experience, is there anything else that would stop you from feeling fully confident and moving forward with me?
What a beautiful transition.
God,
that was nice.
That was it. You write that. You need to practice that in the mirror. And if I come see you, you're gonna role play that with me. I'm thinking about an answer to your question, by the way.
Yeah, well, you know, here's something else that came to my mind, and you know, don't get all political on me. I mean, Look at Elon Musk. He's not an old guy. If someone were to look at him as a young guy, he certainly accomplished a lot, didn't he?
Mhm.
And I know, Matt, I mean, you've had some hardships in your generation. I mean, Britney Spears, had a problem with her dad.
That was tough.
Yeah, I don't know how you lived through that.
I don't know either. It was a nightmare. But yeah, I mean, Elon Musk, he was 20 something years old when he sold PayPal, guys. So it's youth. Youth means nothing. And actually, there's scripture in the Bible that talks about, if you lean that way, that you should not look down on people that are youthful. That your youth is not a disadvantage. So, but that was a great segue or great objection handler. So then I'd say, well, my response would be, well, no, Matthew, outside of that, there's nothing else I'd be concerned about. It's just the experience. You're 19 years old, and and this guy's been doing it for 35 years.
Then that would be a perfect transition to say, I'm sitting left, right seat. I've got a captain. And I think I said this maybe on recon. You guys listen, you can have experience. All right. Like you can have an old dog like maybe me or Matt that may have lost enthusiasm. There's no one out there to give us enthusiasm, but you can have enthusiasm and you can have a captain next to you with experience. Now you have your cake and eat it too. People with 20 and 40 years or 10 or 5 years that have experience and not enthusiasm, they're not even looking for enthusiasm. You have that. You have that enthusiasm, you have that work ethic, and you're looking for wisdom from others. That's a double whammy. That's two things in your favor.
Yep. And so Matthew, you could ask him, well, hey, if I could show you a way to have your cake and eat it too, would you be interested? Answer my question, Matthew.
Yeah, I would.
Okay. So, I just got my license a while ago. I am a little bit younger, but would you be surprised to find out that the top producing agent in our market center is a direct partner of mine? He's been doing it for 35 years. He sold 1,500 homes.
Oh wow,
you-
I didn't know that. No, that's
Yeah.
interesting.
So have you ever flown commercial, Matt?
There you
Of
go.
course.
You've flown commercial? Okay, cool. Well, there's a pilot and a co-pilot, right? Sometimes there's a pilot in the jump seat. Well, you've got me as the pilot. I've got my co-pilot who's been doing this. He could do it in his sleep, but you get the enthusiasm of me as your pilot. And I do actually have a pilot in the jump seat. It's my broker. They've been doing it for 50 years.
Yeah, so we have a combined 50 years experience in the cockpit.
Yep. How is that enough? Is that enough experience for you with my enthusiasm?
And then we'll lay out your guarantee. So,
yep.
You guys, did you find something worthwhile? Share with us. Matthew, awesome. Louise, awesome. I appreciate you guys so much. And those that are participating, what did you hear today that was worthwhile, that was worth an hour just prior to happy hour Eastern time?
The experience and the wisdom that you guys bring to the table here. Highly appreciated.
Well, but what's your takeaway though? Outside of that, yeah, Denny and I know we're great. We don't need to be told. But come on guys, chime in. What are some takeaways that you're learning from these things?
Yeah, so how long are you willing to sit on the market at that price if we don't get offers?
Okay, right. And what I'm taking away from that page is you're being objective and detached.
Mm-hmm.
You're asking them, okay, well, what's our plan? Okay, so we're going to do this. What's our plan? Right.
Right. What's our plan? Yes.
Yep. All right. What else? Ahas.
I like the setting the stage, basically showing them that you're hearing them and you're understanding, you're willing to work with them, you're ready, you want to protect their equity as much as you can, but to help me understand how you derived that number.
Right.
I like
That
that
to me
quote.
was key.
Just so I
Right.
can represent your best interests and defend the price. Can you help me understand how you arrived at that? I love the quote.
Yeah.
Right.
Can I speak?
You can speak. Go.
Okay. The market is going to speak. It's up to us to listen.
Yep.
You guys are awesome. Thank you for being on. I appreciate you guys. Louise, thanks as always. Matt, as always, go have your cottage cheese now and get your macros taken care of today.
I got to get on an airplane at 3 a.m. to come find Matthew and bury him in the desert.
Oh yeah, you're going to fly into Tucson, right?
Yeah, I'm flying into Tucson, and then we drive up. We fly into Tucson, drive straight up to Sedona, stay in Sedona for 2 days every year, and then we come back to Phoenix or Tucson. So just go up, down.
There you go.
Thanks,
Guys,
Matt.
thanks so much. We'll see you next week. Bye-bye.